Hey guys, welcome in Lifeliqe VR Museum. Cool education app you can download from the whiteboard. My name is Ondrej and I'm co-founder and CEO of Lifeliqe, and let me welcome Taylor, my friend and the CEO and co-founder of Upload VR. And we are having today a small chat about future of VR in education and learning.
One thing that's really interesting to me is thinking about the age. I know that Facebook has a 13 and up limitation. You've got these age ranges that are primarily right now based on the fact that we don't really know what VR does to your eyes long term. We don't know really what it does to your brain developmentally. I personally am a very, very firm believer that in terms of what it will do for your brain, it will be actually very accelerated in terms of your ability to learn. But in terms of eyes, there are questions around age. So how are you thinking about age? What's the right place to start? How do we actually start breaking it down so that the same way that you've got a 2-year-old that's playing with an iPad? I remember when my parents were like, don't sit next to the screen, and now it's like these kids are living like this at 2 years old. So how do we get to that point where, we can actually start exposing these younger kids to these complex concepts, and how do you think that will unfold?
I think everything is, there are like two different sides of that. One is really the clinical side, where I think there needs to be done hours and hours of different testing to really understand what will happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess when I spoke with different hardware OEMs, they are definitely on it.
Mm-hmm.
What we can do is really just to adjust what is possible out there. So for us it's really no-brainer. For me, from day one, when you just born into this planet, you absorb information in interactive 3D way. So the way how we are learning into the space. I was just thinking today how amazing it is that we've been able to develop all of the 2D communication in our society. So even we live in this world, even we know that the things happen right here. This is my body. So then we developed the concept of books, where we just took the 3D objects and we just transformed them into the 2D. And that's been kind of like the bread and butter of our learning in the last 10,000 years.
Mm-hmm.
So we are now trying to solve the problem of typing in VR, and it's so annoying. So I guess the conceptually, I think people don't have really the problem to kind of just absorb the VR. And the user testing with our friends and employees' kids are really showing us that kids above the age of 6, they're really getting the VR.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's more of the policymakers and more of clinical tests to understand when the kids will be allowed to use it in mass scale. So my question would be: so we see the VR as well as AR becoming really like two very, very big things in those immersive technologies.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think would be more sweet spot for AR, and what would be more sweet spot for VR in
Mm-hmm.
terms of learning and education?
Yeah, awesome question. I think that the inherent value of, let's start with VR, is that you can actually transport yourself somewhere else, right? So if you're learning about, the ruins, you're learning about the pyramids, you're learning about Mariana's Trench, you're learning about these places. I think that's one key area where VR will have a lot of power. I also think that when you're trying to demonstrate scale, right, trying to demonstrate, like you're saying, on the inside of a cell, or what it's like to have a cosmic view, that's where VR is incredibly powerful, is giving you this perspective, right? Especially when you're able to zoom, like some of your demos, where you can actually go through the whole thing and imagine your perspective shifting, is really powerful. I think with AR, when you're thinking about a traditional classroom setting, it makes a lot more sense for the students to be sort of present in the real space.
Mm-hmm.
So I could imagine something where, you take the idea of like dissecting a frog, for example, right? When you're in like 8th grade, you dissect a frog in your, biology class. Instead of having actual frog cadavers, you have virtual frog cadavers. And the teacher's there, they can actually see collaboratively what the students are doing,
Mm-hmm.
but everyone's there working on their own thing. It's kind of this fun environment, So I think that's definitely an area where there will be a split.
I see.
Again, I think that the whole future of education is like up in the air now because of immersive technology, right? The classroom is incredibly inefficient for learning. You've got students that are at a, if on a scale, like they understand some of these concepts at like a 1, and some of the students understand them fully at a 10, and that's this full range, and it's one teacher and maybe a TA trying to address everyone and really help them. I think that system with AI, with technology, with individualized learning is going to shift, and students will have the opportunity to learn on their own trajectory, and so I think both will be very important, but to know where it's going to land 10, 20 years from now, very difficult to know. I don't know if the traditional classroom will even make sense anymore, right? There will be some way for kids to have social interaction, to build social skills and learn that side of intelligence, emotional intelligence, but it'll be far more effective to learn individualized. So that's sort of thoughts on that. I guess next question. So how do you think about, I know I've talked a bit about AI, but I'd love to get your thoughts on the importance of artificial intelligence and VR and AR converging.
Well, you just caught me off guard. Frankly, I was never much thinking about AI in education so far. And again, when I'm saying education, for me, it's still about like the K-12 education. That's really our sweet spot. And the reason is that we still believe that the only way how to bring any impact into today's education is to work with teachers. And currently, they get all of the right insights. They get all of the experience to really bring the right things to their kids. The very question is if technology can really help them. And it's not necessarily only about VR and AR. It's generally speaking about if there exist the right tools for them. Mm-hmm. Because usually the biggest problem of all of the edtech is that everybody who went through the kind of K-12 ecosystem, which is pretty much almost everybody, she or he thinks that I do understand education because I went through the school, right?
Right.
But the problem is that that's not usually what teachers kind of really fits into their needs and what really solve their pains. So that's I think that it's a little bit too early for K-12 and artificial intelligence from my perspective. Mm-hmm. The power of I'm still a big believer of AR, a little bit kind of like bigger than believer of VR. Because I still recall the scene from the Matrix where the Trinity was asking to just record me the Black Hawk or the helicopter there. That's kind of this kind of really what the AR can do for you is it can provide you the information on around.
Right.
Because what I believe is that the brain can process the visual information like significantly much more effectively than just written information. Right. Therefore, I don't really think that AR can be as important in terms of the process of the learning itself. Mm-hmm. I think it can be outstanding tool to keep us, informed and provide us informations. Mm-hmm. But I really think that VR has much bigger, the power to bring together the immersion you just described. But it's also about the emotions, mm-hmm. because then you are just using different part of your brain if you are learning, comparing the traditional concept of textbook and me just trying to memorize all of the stuff there. Mm-hmm. Because you are doing more kind of the project-based learning, you are inside of the thing, you are just trying the things. And as I remember from my school days, when you can be just playing with some kind of thing and even you can just break it. That's the best way how you can learn about it. Right? Yeah. And that's why I think the VR can be so powerful in the whole process of K-12 education, because you can use different part of your brains and you will have much more informations in the long run comparing just the short run.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. I think to your point though on AR being similar to the Black Hawk experience, right?
Yeah.
It definitely does supplement for things that require standard operating procedures, that doesn't require muscle memory, like learning Kung Fu or whatever they learn, right? Like that would be something that you would have to inherently learn still, right? Unless you could somehow implant muscle memory, right?
That's an interesting idea, by the way.
Yeah, implanting muscle memory.
Yeah, I think so.
Interesting. Yeah, somebody figure out how to do that. That'd be great.